It's June, and it's time for Senior Moments. I'm Linda Brayman. Thank you for joining us. Did you know the summer solstice is this month? That means the longest day is this month. It's wonderful to go out and enjoy the sun this time of year. But when you get tired of being broiled and boiled, go inside to your air conditioning and enjoy Senior Moments. Senior Moments covers events and activities at senior centers in the Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area, such as the Ann Arbor Senior Center, Turner Senior Resource Center, the Pittsfield Senior Center, and the Ann Arbor Community Center. The show also provides valuable information for all senior citizens on such issues as health, wealth, finance, and entertainment. The program premieres on the last Sunday of the month with reruns on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., Saturdays at 9 a.m., and Sundays at 5 p.m. throughout that following month on CTN Channel 19. So stay tuned to Senior Moments, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hi, my name is Chris Belcher. I am the board president of the Michigan Philharmonic. I'm also a volunteer with the Leave a Legacy program. Leave a Legacy in Southeast Michigan is a program that encourages people to remember and the organizations, the nonprofit organizations that they supported during their lifetime after they are no longer with us. Here today, we're going to have a little conversation about leaving a legacy, and with us is Dennis Mitzel. Dennis is a principal with the Mitzel Law Firm, and Corinne Hales, who is the Senior Director of Planned Gifts at the University of Michigan here in Ann Arbor. I know anecdotally that there are a lot of nonprofits that support our lives, our families, support our communities here in Southeast Michigan. Do charitable donations really matter? Don't they get contributions from other sources? Don't they get money from elsewhere? Dennis, do they matter?
Well, of course, charitable contributions make a huge difference. And most of us, we have our own particular charities. We know those charities. We're passionate about those charities. And when you get behind the scenes and you see how they're being funded, every single contribution makes such a huge difference to those organizations. So I know in the case of the organizations I support, I see their needs and I get excited about helping them.
Well, I know in the organization that I chair the board for, it's very important to have individual contributions. Given that it's so impactful, do people in Michigan really contribute? I know anecdotally I think they do, but do we have any evidence of that, Corinne?
We actually do have some research and evidence. Michigan State University did a study and found that 82% of residents in Michigan do give. And so we're a very philanthropic state. I think that really it's because people have been touched in so many different ways. They want to give back. Some people want to create experiences for others that they have been benefited from. Some people have philanthropy as a part of their family values, and so they've learned to be philanthropic. A lot of people think it's the right thing to do.
Wonderful. Dennis, how do people give to charities? I mean, I know giving to United Way through my $5, $10 contribution each paycheck, but how else do people give to charity? What tools do they use?
Well, we all know how to write a check. And writing a check continues to be the most common form of giving to charity. And I don't want to, we'll leave that because it's so simple, but I don't want to underestimate how important that is. But in addition to that, more and more people are giving gifts of stock. And if they give gifts of stock, they're able to get a full deduction for the stock and not have to report the capital gain on the difference between what it was worth and what it's worth now. So that is becoming a much, much bigger a way to give. And there's one other technique that we'll talk about a little bit more as well, and that's a charitable rollover, where individuals who are over 70 and a half can go ahead and have a contribution made directly from that IRA to charity and never have to report that income.
Ah, so it doesn't increase their taxable income when they, wonderful.
That's right.
We'll come back to that one. Corinne, what do you see at the University of Michigan as, that people are doing?
Most people do a bequest, which is a gift from their will or their trust through their estate. A lot of people also who have IRAs and other retirement plan assets leave those. And I also want to mention another technique which is less used, a charitable gift annuity, which actually is a way of giving money and getting some money back in return.
So that's something where you give money during your lifetime,
Yes.
but you also
Get an income stream.
get an income stream. That's nice.
So there are lots of different ways, and I think a lot of times people think about giving cash, but there are assets that can be used as well.
There are other more tax efficient ways of doing it as well.
Correct.
Well, you know, all these people are supporting the charities that are important to us during our lifetime. What happens after we're gone?
Well, there are opportunities to give beyond. Think about it this way. If you've been supporting something, you can leave a gift that continues to support that organization. Some people create endowed funds, and those funds give money to the organization in perpetuity.
I know that MSU study also mentioned that there's only 9% of people actually give after they're gone. Through these bequests and other vehicles. Why is it so low?
Well, I think that people don't really think about giving when they're not here. And so a lot of people don't have a counsel who may suggest that during their estate planning. Some people have never been asked, and they would consider the thought, but it's never been brought to their attention.
Well, I know, you know, we as Michiganders develop patterns of giving to charity during our lifetime, and we have this massive drop-off from 82% to 9% after we're gone. Actually, that 9% figure is not bad compared to the national figure of only 3% of people who leave something to charity after they're gone. Why is there such a dramatic drop-off? You mentioned people don't think about it, they haven't been asked. Dennis, what do you see?
I find that an intriguing question, and largely because I'm preparing estate plans for people who are so generous, and something about the estate planning process is there. They are thinking about family, 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 which, by the way, is very good. And so I find very charitable people who take care of charity their whole life, and at their death often want to include just family members. However, that's really what Leave a Legacy is all about, is to remind those people that even a small bequest can help continue the pattern of giving that someone was making their whole life. And that's really our mission, to remind them of that, so that, and they don't have to hurt their family when they're doing this, but to take maybe a little piece, everybody's situation is different, and say, this is going to help that organization that I've supported my whole life to replace the loss of my gifts when I'm gone.
Now, with the new tax law that's coming, a tax act that's come into effect, I understand that many people may lose the charitable deduction. Is that going to make a difference? Will that affect people leaving money during their lifetime or after their death?
It won't affect anything after death, although the estate tax exemptions are so high, but they've been high. So people who are leaving assets at death are going to continue to do that, and that's a very good thing.
And I think that people who want to give are going to want to give regardless of the tax benefits. The studies have also shown that people don't give just for that benefit. They give because they want to, and they're passionate about the mission that they're supporting. And that will always continue, I think.
So the tax benefit is just it's just an add-on for most people who have developed a pattern of giving during their lifetime.
Correct.
So we're here to remind people that the nonprofits lose them after they die.
Yes.
Yes.
And
One thing that
go ahead.
one thing that we always see, people leave percentages. You know, sometimes folks don't want, in order to be able to take care of their family when they're gone, and charity, they might leave a percentage to an organization so that they are making sure that they're still taking care of their family.
wonderful, Dennis.
Well, but I didn't want to let that question go on the new tax act, because it was a very unusual tax act in that it affects every person differently based on their circumstances. But there are some very important changes. And a lot of people who took the standard deduction in the past, it really will not impact their charitable giving.
Okay.
And those who are giving very large gifts, it won't impact theirs. But there are a group of people in the middle who used to itemize and now might not be itemizing under the new law. And they might not be able to deduct what they have been able to deduct in the past. And so we're hoping that will not change their charitable giving. And I have a feeling it won't, but we won't really know for, maybe another year what the true impact was. And there's a couple of techniques that may or may not be appropriate.
Right. So we always,
Yes.
from the charity standpoint, we always try to partner and consult with other advisors, our donors' advisors, with the accountants, the lawyers, to make sure that we're all on the same page in doing what's best and what's right for the client or the donor.
So if I wanted to leave something, and it sounds like it's even more important now because some people may be affected by the new tax act and may not donate as much, or may think they shouldn't be donating, or there may not be as great a benefit to them from a tax perspective, but as you said, most people give despite the tax impact. But if I wanted to leave something after I'm gone, how do I go about doing this, Dennis?
Well, I'm going to come back to that if I can.
Please.
Because there are a few people who are going to impact their patterns of giving and might give more in one year and less in the next. I don't want to talk too much about that because it's very dependent on their circumstances. But what I absolutely don't want to forget is that for those who are over 70 and a half, this new law, even though it didn't change the IRA rollover, it is a dramatic impact on it. And so for those over 70 and a half, if they contribute through their IRA, they will get a 100% deduction, where most of those people may not get any deduction if they write a check.
Okay.
And if there's one thing we want to get the word out, is that using those IRAs for those over 70 and a half has suddenly become the most important and most efficient way for them to give.
It may actually move them down a tax bracket by doing so.
It's going to be a big help, and probably a much better help than writing that check.
So if you're over 70 and a half and you are receiving required minimum distributions, it would be a good thing to talk to your financial advisor, your plan giving officer or development officer at the charities that you support, or your attorney or CPA, and investigate this opportunity. Dennis, can you give us one story about how this has worked for one of your clients?
Well, I'd love to, of course. I had one particular client, and I will never forget this client because she had been helped through nursing school with a scholarship, and she wanted to do something for that nursing school to set up a scholarship program. And when she inquired, they told her, well, we would like you to have $100,000 to set up this program. And she knew there was no possible way she could give those kind of funds. And I simply suggested, well, why don't you do it at your death, where $100,000 is still a lot of money, but she could easily do that, and it meant so much for her that that's in fact what she did. She set up the scholarship program to take effect at her death to take care of one of the most important things she wanted to do and still leave plenty behind for her family.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you both for appearing today.
Thank you.
We're gonna wrap up by reminding everyone that you should, in order to investigate this further, talk to your attorney, a development officer from the charities that you support, your CPA, your financial advisor, or you can call Leave a Legacy of Southeast Michigan, and they can be reached at leavealegacysoutheastmichigan.org. Thank you very much. Thank you both for attending.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for joining us on Senior Moments. I'm Linda Brayman, and for all you June brides, may you live happily ever after.